Happy Thursday, everybody. My name's Aaron. I'm the co-founder, the managing director here at BWG Connect, a giant networking knowledge sharing group coming up on our 9th anniversary right now. Um, During the day, I spend the majority of my time talking to brands. Would love to talk with anybody on the phone today. Just a giant networker as a whole, a knowledge sharer. More than happy to share what I'm hearing across the network. And that's everything from Amazon and content to right now LLMs, and even Reddit is popping up. If anybody ever needs any recommendations across the board as a network, we're constantly vetting out who the top service providers are. And again, that's anything from Amazon to drop shipping to agencies for TikTok, Reddit, whatever it might be. Obviously, content generation, which is why we're on here with Spencer and Detail Page team today. Just shoot me an email, Aaron, Aaron at bwgconnect.com, and we will find a time to connect. That being said, this LLM space, the ability to show up and be a recommendation. Obviously, this is kind of the feeder ahead of the step of, agentic, and how's it going to happen? That doesn't really matter if you're not showing up in these. And so tons and tons and tons of interest across the board. And Spencer and I go way back, all around amazing digital expert across the board, and just built something really cool at Detail Page that a lot of people have recommended. So I'm going to pause there. Spencer, you can jump in, background on yourself, and then Detail Page, what you're doing. That'd be great. And then we just jump into the conversation. One thing I forgot to mention in this, if you have questions along the way, drop them into the Q&A, and we're going to answer as many of those in real time as we can. So don't hesitate to do that. So now I'll kick it over to you, Spencer.
Yeah, sure. If you guys need any dirt on Aaron, we've been known each other for a long time. He actually called on me back at Amazon over 10 years ago. That's how old we are getting now. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, no, a bit about Detail Page. We take care of hundreds of the world's largest brands. They come to us because we have a couple of these amazing patents, one around search optimization and image optimization that we've had. And so really what you think about is we can really take care of your entire Detail Page, whether it's being findable within search, whether it's helping you convert customers with production-ready images that are data-driven, data-driven images that are ready to go, that you have, or it's the insights to tell you what it is that gets done. Like Aaron said, we'll take care of as many of the questions as we can live today. But if you have other questions or want to download the slides, like just bwg at detailpage.com. Or you can download the slides, and this link in the bottom. It really works this time. It has BWG in lowercase and uppercase that works, and you can find that there. And so we'll go through some of those pieces there. So anyway, that's the introduction that I have there. Any questions, Aaron? Or should we kick?
None so far.
Let's dive in.
Let's just dive in. I think we're gonna have
Okay.
a talk as we go.
So just one thing as we start, we have launched image production-ready images that we are turning content into exactly what customers look for. We'll talk a little bit about why this is important today, because images has changed as of end of April. But if you do want a free image readiness audit, we'll go ahead and send us an email. We'll get that taken care of. So today we're going to go through three things. We're going to do a 5-minute review on SEO, because this is our 2 of 3 webinar that we have around agentic readiness. And so we're going to give you a 5-minute review on SEO. Then we're going to talk about images and how they've updated. They really got a promotion at the end of April, and how you end up needing to change your images to where they're LLM ready. That you have. And then we're going to dive really deep into GEO, and we're going to talk about the high value context that you have for your products and how that really drives the personalization and the volume that's going to be associated with it. Okay. So as we get going, just as a reminder, SEO, search engine optimization, GEO, generative engine optimization, AEO, agent or agentic engine optimization. So when we looked at the brands attending, they were about 16% were ready with SEO, 7% were ready with GEO, and about 2% were ready with AEO. And so SEO is all about the what. GEO is about who, what, when, where, why, the contextual aspects of it. And AEO is around agentic engine optimization that you have here. So when we think about this SEO, GEO, like GEO, when we're going to talk about that, Amazon didn't announce, they just rolled out yesterday that Rufus is going away and it's now replaced by Alexa Shopping. It's largely a branding exercise, but it is also we're seeing some very specific changes to generative engine, how it's personalizing stuff. And so we'll go through some of those things today. Okay. So just the review points that you have here on SEO. You have a couple of things. First, you want a structure for access that you have, and that means that you make sure your traffic is for the search algorithm and that conversions all around the customer that you have here, meaning that you want to take anything for traffic house. You want to have things that are going to be SEO volume. And when you think about conversion house, this is more where your images come into play that you have. So you put the right message in the right place is what we talked about there. When it comes to the indexing cycle that you need to update every approximately quarter that you have because that's re-triggering the indexing and seeding process to go through there, and it's valuing newer content that you have. And then we talked about how IDQ or item data quality is really a gatekeeper and how it only indexes the part that the retailer says that you can have. So when we think about optimizing for discovery, it was using those, there was about those things that we talked about here. Search is about written, conversions about images, quarterly updates, and retailer IDQ that you have. And then we talked about the key takeaways were that we need to have customer search terms higher up, higher volume higher up, and B terms that drive A terms. Specifically, what we talked about there is we said that semantic similarity, if you use exactly what the customer types in, then you win on that LLM that you have. That those higher terms have to be higher up. So don't put in here kosher snacks and peanut butter granola in your top items. Instead, you want to think about healthy snacks and low carb, etc., things with higher search volume higher up, because that's where your indexing value starts to come into play. And then you take those B terms that are secondary terms and they drive the A terms, but you put those lower down. So it's important to have them, but you need to have those B terms lower down. So you can't win on backpack. You have to win on travel backpack for men, mochilas para los hombres, things like that. Those are going to be the B terms that drive those A terms. So that's our summary of SEO that we had. Structure and optimize through these 6 items that you have here. Okay.
And everybody, that's the quick recap. We can get you a copy of that webinar, the first one we did, like where we went through all of that.
Yep.
Yeah, more than happy. You can either shoot me an email, Aaron, AARON at BWGConnect.com. We can get you a link. I'm going to post it out to a YouTube channel, all that fun stuff. But that's a recap, and there's a lot more in there and more than happy to share.
So much more. Yep. And we can get you the replay of it too, I believe. Isn't that right, Aaron?
Yes, for sure. Yep.
Lauren, you asked about AEO. Some people call it answer engine optimization. Same sort of things that we're talking about here. AEO. There's a lot of acronyms that are there, but SEO, GEO, and AEO, they really build upon each other. That agent or agentic is much more of the headless browsers, those things that are going to be acting on their own. Answer engine optimization would be much more in the SEO, GEO space that you have here. So it depends upon which acronym you're using for AEO is really what it ends up being there. So, okay, let's talk images, guys. This is a big change that's happened because when we think about images that were here, just as a reminder, and then I'll talk about the change, traffic has largely been around these written text and conversions largely been around images in the past that you have here. But if you remember in your, casual reading of Amazon's patent documents, I'm sure you guys came across this, that it says image data for the products could be included within the search engine that provides the images from the UI generator, et cetera, that you have here. Like it's telling us that, yes, images are going to be included in the search. And what we found is that it is, and now it has to be changed from Ask Rufus to Ask Alexa that you have here. But what we're finding is it's down further in the funnel that we're starting to see that it's included within the indexing for Amazon. So we're not seeing it indexed within the search bar. but we are seeing images indexed when it comes to being on page that you have here, right? So if I type in bone health vitamins, I don't find this Nature Made anywhere in the search results. But when I'm on page and say, does this support bone health? You can see it's indexing the image and saying, yes, it does support bone health. And this Alexa or Rufus is telling us this. So it's down in the funnel. We haven't seen them indexing for the search bar yet, where that is, but I anticipate that that's going to be changing with this new Alexa shopping piece because it's moving into voice. And so we're starting to see some of those things there. So it's really, really clear that I think this is going to be next. And the reason that we see this is we also see some of those LLMs that are a little bit further ahead already indexing. So if I ask Gemini for water resistant laser levels that you have here. All of these are indexing because they talk about water and dust resistant that you have here. You can see here ChatGPT, same sort of thing. They removed images from that instant checkout that you had here, but they kept the indexing. And so we see again that you click here, you click into here, you can see what's happening here. And they're indexing the top 3 images for that retailer that they have here. And so it's only when they have the 3 images that is common across the retailers and they have text and lifestyle. Those are the features that we're seeing when they're starting to index those images. So it became really, really critical and important that you have here because they're not indexing the actual image itself, but they will index anything that has the textual overlay that's happening over the top of it. So you think about the tokens required to index an image and say, what is this? What does it do, etc. It's too expensive. And so they are doing the overlay that you have here.
So
But it gets a little more complicated because they only will go into messages that have single-minded message. They won't go super, super deep on all of the images. They only take the first portion of text and will index that. So what that means for you guys is that it means that we have to have these specific things that are here, and we have to follow the rules that this LLM is taking in order to index these ChatGPT images that you have here. And we'll talk through some like how you actually do that.
in
Boy, a
this
lot of
riff
questions
through
came in.
a bunch of questions rolling in. Let's because I think they're very
Yeah.
applicable. Are the LLMs, I'm going to riff through these and I'll just give them to you. Are the LLMs able to read the images or do they need a meta description?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing is they can do the images, but we're only getting the images when you're down funnel. So when you're on page for Amazon, then they're reading the image. But instead, what they're doing is they're only using that text overlay, what we're talking about, Aaron.
Okay. Is Rufus Alexa pulling from text in the image or from
Yes.
search knowledge of, like in this case, vitamin D3?
Yeah, no, no, we're finding that it's pulling more from the image overlay that you have here. It is also getting some general knowledge from web that's combining together with those things. But then it's saying, okay, vitamin D we say that it's bone health and we have the knowledge from there. And so it's getting both. You have to remember that you're doing it compared to other people too. We'll get into that in just a sec because it's going to compare and say, hey, what's the best answer for my customer that I'm doing?
Yeah. Uh, Jamie, yes, you can get a copy of the presentation. It's right
Yeah,
down at
here
the
at the
bottom of the
bottom.
slide right there, detailpage.com/download/BWG. Uh, um, how do you stay up to date with all the new changes with AI search for Amazon? I usually get on their website for sellers and it goes over new updates as well in Seller University.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually write a couple of programs in order to monitor and check the differences that are happening. And so Amazon's had probably about 30 to 40 updates to their search algorithm that's already occurred. And we just catch them because of the changes in code that are occurring in the back end. So we're a little nerdy. I'm sorry about that.
This is rolling. With Walmart standard white background imagery, how is indexing different? Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, good question. White background for imagery is something that they have for the primary image, and then they'll have secondary images can be different.
Jenna, Google doesn't typically allow overlay. Is it okay now?
We're finding that Google is indexing for their Gemini on the retailer sites that you have here. And so it's not the Google standards that are there for the Google shopping, because if you look on the Gemini when they go there, they're using the retailer images is what they're indexing.
Awesome. What do you mean by single-minded message? Does that
Yeah.
one
Hold
claim?
that. I'll answer that in just a sec.
Awesome. I'll leave it here. Thanks, Jenny, for sending that in. Others, you have questions, drop them in there. We'll get as many answered as possible. This is fun. It's
Still
always a
fun.
good one. Again, you get peppered.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the question, and Janny's getting right to it, like, what do I do about this? How do I actually change? Right. And so the first thing is you have to ensure that you have a data-driven image stack. You guys are all brand owners. You love your brands. You think about your brands day and night. You dream about them at night, I bet, right? The problem is you have this curse of knowledge. And because you have this curse of knowledge, you have the depths that sometimes customers don't care. They just don't care about. And so we have to talk about the things that customers care about and that they're typing into the LLMs and the things that are going to help them convert. Because you remember, ChatGPT abandoned instant checkout within ChatGPT. They're sending them to the website in order to consummate the purchase on the final purchase, right? And so you have to have an image that is both ready for LLM and for human interaction that's here, right? So you can see this is a Bosch image that you have here. This was their image that they had before. And what did customers say? 30% of customers said, I love that it helps me power through hardwood without bogging down. It says, I have plenty of power. I don't ever bog down. And so we need to revise the image. And this is an image we created. You guys can create your own with whatever groups you want. But we have to make sure that it is first data driven, is what it comes down to. So instead of these general lifestyle images that we have here, we have to make sure that it's data driven and has the message that a customer has. So instead of no image related to easy to swallow capsules, we need to create these images that are easy to swallow capsules, right? And so it's the features, benefits that customers are looking for specifically. So you have to move from insight to image to action. And of course, I'm showing you our stuff that we create here because it's my tools and I know how to show you, but I don't care which one you use. I'm trying to help you increase sales. So when insight comes into, you have to take all of the queries and the reviews that customers are having, translate them into features, attributes, and benefits that customers care about, run a competitive analysis, and make sure they're LLM ready. Then create images that are data driven. We've used an advanced AI and we touch it up and so forth. And then you have to check, did it work? And A/B testing becomes the most important way to do that, right? So this is an example of, we take the customer reviews and we had 302 customer reviews. We move this in and say, okay, what do customers care about the most? That's where you start to understand these are the features that customers care about. Therefore, we need to have them in the images. It's that high value, high volume that we're talking about that you have here. Amazon, unfortunately, has made this really hard because they block all these reviews to do that. So you have to have some pretty specialized software, or you have to just hand download this stuff in order to get there. The other thing that they're going to do is they're going to take versus the competitors that you have here. And an LLM, again, all they're trying to do is tell you what is the best product that matches closest to Aaron, right? And so they're going to take, is it method? Is it seventh generation? Is it Lysol? What is it that matches? So you need to make sure that you stack up versus competitive set and benchmark that versus that competitive set that you have here. And then you have to evaluate the LLM and mobile readiness. This image for method, for example, does not get indexed well because it has this long piece that's there. And then when you go to the human side for mobile readiness, the text is too small, the text contrast doesn't work. Instead, we have to move to a fresh pink grapefruit scent, clean and bright. This is what the customers are looking for that you end up having here. And so when we do this and we move from these original images that aren't customer facing, but have the curse of knowledge, and we think it's amazing because it's 3M adhesive that you have here, we move to a customer facing piece that's peel, place, and press done in seconds. I know that I want it done quickly. That's when you start to see this increase in A/B testing. We saw an 11,000% ROI when a customer did this sort of thing that you had here. Okay, lots of questions coming in here. Let's. Oh, actually, let me just tweak two slides, and then we'll take all the questions, Aaron. So the other thing is when you want to update, this is again ours that you say, hey, I don't want the handles on it. We can take the reference images, revise them in order to where it fits exactly what the customers are looking for, because you want to get as specific as you can to that customer. Does it fit a router table? Can I take my MyDoll with individual packs on the go? When you have 40% of customers who say, I love this, this is what I want, you need to make sure that those are the pieces that you're putting into your images that are now indexable. Okay, go, Aaron. There's bazillion.
Number one, we'll be sending out the recording. Yes, we can send out a link once we post it to YouTube. 100%. We can get you a copy that may take a week or so, but we can get you a copy of that, a link to it for sure. Do you need heavy info text on product photos for retailer.com
Yeah.
too, or just for Amazon, Walmart?
Yeah, good question. If I were to pop back up here into some of the retailer shopping that's happening here, you can see that this one doesn't have it here, but oftentimes they'll include the brand.com website in here too. It's indicating that they're indexing both the brand.com and they're indexing the retailer sites that you have here. It's giving preferential treatment to the retailer sites. We saw that originally it gave preferential treatments to the brand.com sites, but there was much lower conversion is what was reported on brand.com sites. And so I think that what's happening here is they're defaulting to higher conversion sites, which is typically retail sites, which is giving preferential treatment to those indexing. It's just customer behavior. It's a learned behavior from the LLMs.
Awesome. I think we tackled this one. What do you mean by single-minded message? Does that mean one claim per image? The text overlay shown had many bullet points. Please help me understand this.
Yeah, good question. So you can see here, like this is a single-minded message powering through Hardwood. They have the RTBs using marketing speak, like deep clean cuts, how many amps and horsepowers, etc. But it's a single-minded message that's there. And what you're going to find is LLMs are really good. This is like one of their key things that they do is they take a whole bunch of things and they put it all together into a single-minded message that you have here. And so this is telling us single-mindedly, there's plenty of power. We can go through Hardwood, right? This cuts through grease. I need a kitchen cleaner that cuts through grease. Boom, that's where you start to do that. So.
Number one, how often should we refresh? This is from Florent. How often should we refresh Carol images to keep conversion
Yep.
high? And then
Yeah.
two, when we update images, should bullet points and written content be updated as well to stay aligned?
Great question, Florent. For number two, I'm going to reference you back to our first one that we did last month on SEO. SEO is more of a quarterly update, and the SEO needs to be the questions that customers are asking in the question bar, whether that's on the retailer or on the LLM. We're finding that it's very different things that customers use in order to convert versus those things that they search for. So using the example that's up here on page, nobody searches for easy to swallow capsules. That's not something that you search for. And so your written text should be magnesium complex or additives to help me sleep. All of those different those searchable content, that's for written. This easy to swallow capsules, this is for conversion once they're there, or the follow-up questions further down in the funnel. Hey, I know that I want magnesium. What's the things that are easier to swallow? I'm a little bit older. I don't have the ability to swallow very well, or et cetera, as they're smaller pills. This is where you start to have those pieces. And so images are further down funnel, text is much higher. Frequency, we're finding that written is every quarter. Images, we're finding are much less frequent. Right now, I think it's going to change and get more frequent, but right now we're seeing probably every half a year to a year is sufficient. But I think we're going to start seeing that more faster as the LLMs get a little bit more advanced.
Yeah, I mean that part for me, is just a huge takeaway that conversion now you're optimizing the text not for conversion, but to optimize for the LLMs for a Rufus.
Yeah,
And then you're using your images to actually do the conversions because nobody's reading anything anymore. What's reading is the LLMs. Um, so it's just interesting how that has totally flip-flopped just over the past year, I would say.
it is. Yeah, yeah.
This is how should I update my Amazon store to dominate AI and not disappear?
Your store doesn't matter. We're finding that it does not matter whatsoever. Your pages matter themselves. But we are finding that the AIs are not indexing stores on Amazon at all. And then ChatGPT is completely shut off from Amazon. But if you're talking even about Walmart and so forth like that, they're indexing the pages. They only index standard fields within the pages. They don't even index the enhanced content or A plus content. No, those fields are not indexed.
Yeah. So another one in from Mandy. How can I track the questions versus keywords?
Sure.
Which I think is cool, right? It used to be if you're going to do this analysis, you'd look at like the top 10 bestsellers and you would run a tool that looks at
Yep.
who has the corresponding keywords and then you match yours to be just like them.
Yeah. Yep.
But in that
Yeah.
last
What you're
one,
talking
yeah, go
about
ahead.
there is themes, right? Because a query that you have here, it could be, hey, what is I want something that won't break the bank, a great television but won't break the bank. And then another question could be, I'd like an inexpensive television. Those are totally different ways that they say those things, but the theme is the same, which is inexpensive that you have here. We're actually releasing a product coming up next month around share of AI voice that tracks themes, and that's where you want to go to.
This is great. Emily types in, your store doesn't matter. Best quote ever. Questions. Thanks, Emily, for that. Uh, how do videos on PDPs impact LLMs, if at all?
We're not finding that they're indexing yet. I anticipate that videos will come into play at some point, but we're seeing no impact on videos yet.
How about optimizing blog posts? Would they index content from there?
Yeah, good question. We are seeing that blog posts and editorial content in general work for ChatGPT, Gemini, the larger LLMs, but we're not seeing them influence retail search as it stands right now.
Yeah, interesting thing there is I've had a surge in even Reddit because of the for all the other LLMs because OpenAI
Mhm.
and Google signed agreements that they're basically harvesting from Reddit now. So Reddit
Yep.
agencies are like blowing up. And ping me if anybody wants to talk about Reddit. I'd love to pick your brain on it. Tips for
Yeah.
mass,
Although
Caitlin.
what we're finding on that, Aaron, is
Yeah.
that there's a huge amount of weighting factor that's there. That we're finding that the LLMs are using Reddit content for color, but not for selection. So if you want your product to be selected, you have to have that selection from the retail and for the editorial sites. But if you want it to have the color commentary on, and people will say that this works because of that, right? That's the color commentary, and that's where the Reddit's coming from, but not for base product selection.
Okay. Awesome. Couple here from Ryan. How does paid marketing impact organic AI visibility? Paid
Yeah,
marketing
good
on
question.
Amazon, but
Hit a
also.
pause on that one. I'll answer that towards the end of the presentation, Ryan, but you're backwards from that. Instead, organic influence is paid, not vice versa.
Uh, um, Caitlin, tips for mass updating product photos, titles, meta descriptions for a brand with 10,000 plus SKUs.
Yeah, give me a call, Caitlin. Happy to help. We've done over 2 million, so I'm sure we can help you out. Like auto parts, for example. You got every iteration that you have, or office pencils and things like that, or shoes that have hundreds and hundreds of SKUs and sizes and colors. Yep, we can take care of it. So just give me a call.
Yeah. Let's keep rolling. The Amazon store doesn't matter from an LLM perspective overall. Is it better to drive traffic to your PDP then?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, your PDPs, PDPs are the things that have all of your value. That's also when you switch your ASIN number or your Walmart ID, you lose all of that, and so you have to like love your ASINs, hold on to your ASINs because that history really ends up becoming important.
Yeah. Right here in the last webinar, this is from Abigail. In the last webinar, you mentioned A plus content was indexing with Rufus when you're on the PDP, but just not for discovery.
Yeah.
Is it still true, or has it changed
Yeah,
since?
it's true. Abigail's been pinging me on LinkedIn about this too. But yes, the uh, like in general, when you're talking about discovery, you're not finding that A plus content or enhanced content works. You're also not finding that it influences discovery at all for LLMs in general. But on page, it will use that information in order to answer a specific question about the product. So way, way, way down funnel.
All right. And then, Margarita, updating pages, do you mean the FAQs, like questions and answers?
Updating pages, FAQs. I'm not sure that I follow what that question means.
All right.
FAQs are not present on Amazon, Walmart, but they are on other places. We are finding that LLMs don't have any bullets in their product feed spec. They only want FAQs and question and answer, and that's a transposition of the content that you have. So good questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
We'll keep moving. Okay, so like here's what I'd say, guys. Like I just grabbed some people who are on this call, and I'm grabbing your real live images over here, and I'm telling you, don't do this. Instead, do this. Right? You're saying, hey, four large pairs holds 15 pounds. Then the LLM, if they're typing in, I need something to hold a frame up that you have here. This does not index from an LLM perspective. This does not index from search. This stronghold for frames, it's like, yes, I need something to hold up a frame. This is going to help me out when I'm in that funnel. And you can still use your legal language that you have here. But 22% of customers on this product for command strip says, I love that it's a stronghold for frames. So you need to, don't do this, do this. Same thing here. Instead of just showing a product packaging that you have here on Walmart, you need to think about individual snack packs, grab and go. 16% of customers say that. Instead of top it, mix it, and serve it alone, like people are talking about kibble toppers. You've got to make sure that you are using that language that the customers have. It's the closest match. If your competitor does it, you don't, they win, you lose. Or instead of this that you have here, we got to talk about blends easily. 13% of customers talk about that. And these are all images that we created here. These are not your images that are live, that are on the right. Your images that are live are the ones on the left that we have here. So um, anyway, that's so for images, the takeaways are LLMs are using the top three images. Data is key. You have to have that insight of what customers actually care about before you create them. And then you have to measure A/B test for conversion afterwards. Any other questions on images before we move to GEO?
Yeah. Is Rufus also indexing variations content on the PDP?
Yeah, good question. The answer is sort of, right? Because it's going to take the top item that matches closest to that specific question that's there. So if I type in pink comforter, and pink is not your top variation that you have here, it's going to take that item and it's going to utilize that item that you have. If you're typing in king size comforter and it's the blue one that you have there, it's going to take the blue one. So does it take a variation? No, it takes the closest match to the question that's being asked.
Um, what app or platform do you recommend for creating updated images?
Oh, if only there was a company called Detail Page that does production ready images for you. Yes, call me Margarita. I'm happy to help.
Yeah.
Like all of the images that you're seeing here, these are all images that we create that are production ready. To be really clear, L'Oreal is not a client. I'm putting up these images saying you need to do this, is what I'm showing them.
What other retailers besides Amazon?
We take care of about 27 different retailers right now. So chances are that we take care of your retailer, 27 retailers in US alone, and then we have 14 countries.
The top three, just a question here from Eric. The top three images, including the main image, or the next three?
Next three. Sorry, that's a very good clarification. It's really the next three that you have.
Um, all right, I'm rolling through the Do you do it for answer live? We took care of that one. Do any of these recommendations change with Amazon's update to Rufus as Alexa for shopping?
It's still too early to tell. We're just capturing some of the changes there. But so stay tuned. We'll follow me on LinkedIn. We'll be doing some research on that, and we'll let you know.
How are customers responding to AI generated images in stacked images? Are they annoyed? Do they care really?
Good question. Like when you take a look at these images right here, can you tell that they're AI generated?
I
Right?
can't, as long as there's not people in them, in most cases,
Well,
I
like
care.
this is an AI generated image that you have here with people included, right?
Oh,
The
yeah.
like the ability to create really good high quality AI generated images is it used to be really difficult. We wrote some really great AI, and there's some AI that's really crappy, and you can tell. And so AI generated images that you can really tell are AI generated, people are not loving it. It actually decreases conversion. But when you have this type of image that you have here, it's pretty incredible. So yeah, great questions. Okay.
Awesome.
Uh,
We've tackled all of them that come through. Uh, yeah. Oh, right here. Okay, what's in? Hands are getting a little better now, thankfully. Yeah. Not like six fingers. Yeah. Good call. Thanks.
Yeah, the cool part is like if we wanted to edit this right here, like I could come back through here and just be like, hey, make this hand a little smaller, right? And if I apply the touch up, then in about 2 minutes it would be ready to go with a smaller hand if you wanted a smaller hand or whatever the case may be. So really easy to do. Yeah. Good questions, guys. Okay. We're ready to jump to GEO.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. That's an interesting question about the ethical use of AI generated images. I mean, that's almost a whole nother webinar that I think it's a great topic, how everyone's looking at it, especially for cosmetics here.
Yeah, good
That's
question.
almost an entire, I think that's an open forum or even a dinner, like in person. That would be a great panel discussion as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah. The questions that we've gotten on that in the past, kind of where it landed, and again, open for discussion, is if you are incorrectly portraying the product, then there's definitely some ethical implications to it. But if you're correctly portraying the product, then that would be the thing where we're saying, hey, we're just getting to something instead of a $100,000 photo shoot that we're doing, we're taking care of this for, I mean, our costs are, we usually charge people between $300 and $400 per SKU for all 10 of their images that you have here, right? It's like, it's so much easier, faster, and better as long as you're not doing something unethical. So,
Awesome.
but yeah, it's interesting. AI in the wild has been, it's just been an interesting topic. But now that we can train it utilizing real images, because we can take the actual models, we can take those things, we can upload them. It makes it so much easier that's in there. So, yep, definitely interesting. Okay, well, let's talk generative engine optimization that you have here. GEO, I think, is really interesting that you have here. So GEO that we have, this one is fascinating. So this was yesterday, and it still says Rufus AI for me yesterday. Today it would say Alexa Shopping that you have here. But if I ask Alexa Shopping, what does my order history say about me? It tells me that I'm planning something special. I'm health and fitness focused. I like practical home improvements. I like active lifestyle. I like little treats. And therefore, it must know that I have a little gut here too, right? Like it knows a lot about me. And how does it end up using that in order to drive the things that I'm going to see? Because that context is going to drive that personalization. And so if it knows all this stuff, it knows that I'm planning something special, that I bought a whole bunch of, it's likely a bridal shower, baby shower. It's actually a senior dinner dance that I'm having here, but it knows things about me from this context. Then all the products that I get, they end up becoming different and personalized to me. And so I did healthy snacks for kids, face moisturizer, and internet routers. And I had my team in Utah, Texas, Washington, and Minnesota ask the question, "Hey, what are some healthy snacks for kids?" Or I want some healthy shelf stable snacks for my kids' lunches. What do you recommend? And you can see every single one of us got something different on healthy snacks for kids. And you can see the same sort of thing on face moisturizers. We can see very, very different things that came across for face moisturizers because some of us are single, some of us are married, some of us have kids, some of us don't. Some of us are 47 and have a lot of wrinkles. Some of us are 23 and don't, right? It's a very different product that we're starting to get based upon what content and context is included in the products that is in here. And so it's interesting to know how things are selected because if you know how things are selected, then we can modify and adapt. And so this gives us three big questions that we have here. It tells us how our product selected is what we want to answer. How should I start to measure results? And Aaron, you kind of teed that up before because it used to be, hey, I only want to take the top 3 results on whatever top search term that I have here. That's no longer applicable. And then somebody else asked, how is advertising impacted here? And let's answer those 3 questions that we have. Okay. So first things first, again, your nighttime reading with Amazon's patent and science documents that you have here. It talks about this in alternative training data within personalization and paid search variable bid rate modeling is what it starts talking about on that. What it also talks about in their science document, it says, hey, we're going to personalize this for the search. So if I know that the person's pregnant, right, and you saw like my searches beforehand, it might think that I'm throwing a bridal shower that I have here, then it's going to give me a specific recommendation. So when I type in slippers, then if it's pregnant, then they're going to give me a slip-resistant shoe. This is directly from their science document that they have here. And so what we see here is they really take 15 relationship types. And they say, based upon these 15 relationship types or context types that you have here, I want to make sure that I personalize and get the right product to the right person that I have here. And so this right here, I want you guys to think for a second and just focus. Like if I just create content and I just have content just for content's sakes, and I type into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever and say, hey, create me something awesome for content that you have here, you don't have the data layer that you already know. You have to start with the data layer of who, what, when, where, why is somebody buying this product. So think about this, okay? Ring pops, great for kids. And so if I only talk about great for kids, etc., I have birthdays, but I miss bachelorette parties that I have here, right? I got to have the context that's going to be fitting into that sort of thing. So this is an example of Mondelez. Like you can almost see Mondelez like typing into Claude, hey, help me update my stuff here. What did they end up with? They ended up with 10 low volume search terms that nobody searches for, less than 10,000 searches per month. They ended up with 3 really good search terms. And then they ended up with 3 completely out of season terms that you have here: stocking stuffers, Halloween treats, and Easter baskets. Guys, like you can't let AI write your detail pages on their own without having the data underneath it. They miss all of this stuff that's here, and they put low volume stuff in instead of high volume stuff. And then they miss all of this contextual aspects that's coming in here. So like snacking, portion control, etc. We've put in here bulk cookies, but nobody searches for bulk cookies. Instead, we're looking for portion control and convenient grab and go that we're talking about. And so we have to have that context in there so that we get the high volume of who's searching for it so that we match up as many times as possible in that personalized search that's happening here. That data layer becomes super, super, super critical. Let me show you some more examples here. These are people who are on the call today. So I just grabbed this that you had here. I literally pulled this like 10 minutes before the call. So if I look at this American Standard that you have here, they have the American Standard, the number, and a semi-pro kitchen sink faucet. Guys, they never, ever, ever, ever once in their entire detail page said that as a pull-down kitchen faucet, right? And then they didn't talk about the fact that it's for home improvement, renovators, construction workers, temp rental managers, etc. Who is it that's really getting here? If I'm going to personalize it into that search, I got to do that right. If my competitor has it and I don't, I lose. So in this case, 76% improvement in AI contextual volume that you have here. Same thing here for Spin Master. I think I saw Spin Master ask a question beforehand, right? Like this right here, we talk about these pieces here, but we don't talk about those that are interested in STEM, engineering, physics, construction toys, puzzles, building challenges. 67% improvement in context that you have, or Hunter fan that you have here. Again, DIY, summer cooling, air ventilation, homeowners, interior decorator, the who, what, when, where, why that's there. And so this context becomes really, really high. That becomes one of the most critical pieces is you have to have the context, and not just context, but high volume context becomes key that you have here. Okay, any questions on GEO context selection before we move to measurement?
Um, yeah, if retailer search is personalized, how do you optimize content for the LLMs?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about here. Is like it's about the high volume that you have that, right? And so if I talk about DIY home improvement that we have here, and that LLM already knows, Selena, that that person is a construction worker, right? That becomes something that's personalized for that person, that somebody who wants that. Or if they're looking for pull down kitchen faucets or plumbing fixtures that you have here, they're likely, like they already know, they've already done a remodel, they've done base flooring or tile saws or blades or whatever the case may be. They already know these aspects about this DIY home improvement person. And if you're talking about that, and your competitor's not, then you win. If you're not, vice versa, then they win that you have here. And so it's not about total personalization. It's about picking the highest volume of personalization that's possible so that we can personalize for it.
Yeah. Next thing, where do you find the high traffic search terms?
Yeah, yeah. This is something that we've spent over $1 million creating just not one report in order to figure out the high volume of search terms that exists into this sort of thing. So we can get to that high volume aspects through our systems that we have here. But it is you can also get it with. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. You can also get to it with about 4 different reports that Amazon has for Amazon, but it will take you, oops, gosh, no, I'm really doing it. It's a really tricky thing to get to is the answer to that, but we're happy to pull it. If you have an ASIN that you want us to pull it for, just send it and we'll help you out with a SKU just for funsies.
Awesome.
Okay. Um, let's keep moving then, Aaron, into this measurement piece that we have here. So we talked about selection, context becomes key. And now we have to talk about measurement. How are we going to measure this? So if you think about this personalized search that we talked about, and then it's based upon search history, personalization, geography, and then we need a weighted keyword volume that's going to be associated with the total volume of these keywords, and then that share of voice of what you capture versus your competitive brands on each of those pieces that you have here. And so if you think about this for a second, liquid hand soap, 90% of search volume is 396 terms. Razors, 734 terms. Dimmers and switches, almost 1,400 terms that you have here, right? People are not just typing in, I like a dimmer switch that you have here. They're typing in outdoor timer, like dimmer switch, motion sensor light switch, pool timer, Christmas light timer switch. Like they're typing in all these different myriad of terms, and that's making up the 900 or these 1,352 terms that you have here. And so who wins is based upon that consumer weighted volume that's there to get that share of voice. And the reason it becomes really critical is you take a look at market share, and there's a huge, huge correlation between market share and share of voice. If you don't get customers to your page, they're never going to buy, right? That becomes the real critical piece that you have here. So in this case, Pampers and Huggies combined, they lost 10 points of share of voice, and that's combined to be about 3 points of market share loss that they have here. Now, I'm going to get really nerdy here for a second, guys, so stick with me. I'm doing hardcore math. So if my share of units versus my share of voice is different, we can then take our budget and align our budget to where we need to spend. So if my share of voice is higher, then my share of units, meaning I get more people to my page percentage wise, then I get my units, then I need more conversion, right? And if I need more conversion, then I need to focus in on my images, my in-stock, my reviews, and my price. But if my share of units is higher than my share of voice, I need more traffic. And so I need to work on my SEO, GEO, my advertising, and my promotions that I have here. So I'll give you some examples that you have here. So if we look at this, like a Eureka example that you have here, Eureka ends up having a share of voice of 6%, but a share of units of 10%, right? So they have 4% gap. They're converting better than they're getting people to their page.
Mhm.
Therefore, they need more traffic. As opposed to Dyson, is it exact backwards. They get a bunch of people to their page, but they don't convert very well. So they need to focus in on conversion that they have here. And you could do that same thing. Amazon Basics needs to convert better. Gillette Venus needs more traffic that you have here. So that measurement is going to save you on budget so well that you have here. So you can focus it in. I wish we all had unlimited budgets. None of us do. Therefore, let's focus. If you guys want this report, no charge, no obligation, just email me. I already pulled this in prep for this call. Here's a bunch of categories that we have. And if you have yours, just make sure you drop it in the subject line for the BWG so that I can get you that share of voice versus the share of voice versus units share gap, so you know where you stand for it. Okay. Any questions on share of voice measurement that you have here before we hit advertising impact?
Just really quick, what other tools out there do this share of voice report?
I have not seen anybody except for us that does that same share of voice versus units report.
Um, would you suggest a different strategy for product photos if the company sells luxury goods?
Yeah, good question. It's not about the different strategy that you have here. It's just a different template that you want to have. So your brand structure that you have might be more luxury for some things versus more consumer based for other things. So we did one for a backpack company that sells $300 backpacks. It's very different look and feel than it is for Makita tools or for Hanover pretzels or so forth.
Awesome. Let's go through this, at least this next portion, because I see we have 5 minutes left. I want to make sure we get
Yep.
through this. And then, Dan, I see your question in there. And Margarita, we can get you. It's just BWG at detailpage.com, right?
You
If they
got
want.
it. BWG at detailpage.com. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, good. All the good thing is we only have a few slides left, so don't worry. Okay. Advertising impact that we have here. Okay. I don't care if you're talking about Amazon or putting the items in front of people that are relevant, or you have OpenAI, you want to share the one right ad that you have here, or we have very specific people with a very specific set of products. Every single player out there is talking about how advertising is going to be impacted by relevancy. So the bottom line is you have to get your organic search right before you get your paid search going, because your variable bid rate, the way that they enforce that is you are going to pay more for that advertising if you are less relevant in search. And my bet is that you think about the number of ads that are actually displayed. I think you're going to get gated to where you never show up in ads if you're not already relevant, right? In fact, what we're seeing is about 5x lower bid rates that you have for those things that you have there. So and it doesn't mean that you have to shift you have to take away budget. This is kind of a precursor. We'll talk a lot more about this next time, but we just want you to shift your budget to more efficient ad spend. So we're moving away from this traditional search and more into the AI focused search that has much higher conversion rates that you have there. So the advertising, the takeaway that I give you there is base content first. So the three takeaways that we have here: search selection is driven by those high value dimensions. The measurement is all about share of voice that you have here. Then your advertising is about that base content first that you have here. So to wrap it all up, these are the takeaways that you'll have here for those slides. And the offer still continues to be there. Is like, if you want a free image readiness report that you have here, please let us know. We'll help you with those. Or if you want to have I've already pre-polled all of these folks that are here, or if you want a GEO, generative engine readiness report, please let us know and we'll be able to help you out there. And we'll talk again on October 13th at 1:30 p.m. And please connect with us here.
Well, awesome. And we're going to get to as many questions as we can here. A quick, people have to drop. Spencer, awesome. Thank you so much for this today. A quick reminder, I'd love to chat with anybody on the line today. More than happy to connect and network, knowledge share, all that fun stuff. We don't sell anything here at BWG Connect. More than happy to just give some advice that I'm seeing across the network. If you need any recommendations, obviously, if you have any RFPs out there from TikTok agencies to Reddit agencies to Amazon agencies, I mean, obviously in the content space, it's Spencer and the team here at Detail Page. More than happy to just make those recommendations. Just shoot me an email or connect with me at LinkedIn. Aaron, Aaron at bwgconnect.com. So let's go through here. When measuring impact of changes to copy images, how do you account for changes to price, promo, seasonality?
Yeah. I just typed an answer, but the
Okay.
short answer is this. It's 100% a factor. We definitely take into account, we call it noise factors that are there. And in some instances, you can filter out those noise impacts based upon price elasticity of demand and other factors. Other things, if it's just too noisy and too much promotional impact, then you call it unreadable during that time period that you have. But many times you can take a base versus a base content during the same time period to say base versus our test versus control group.
But the titles and bullets, if Amazon doesn't like redundant terms, are you working around that and still including the exact search terms even when terms repeat?
Yeah, good question. So, while you say something like snacks, right? They don't care if you say snacks a whole bunch of times, but they do care if you instead you have to have it with a specific use case of how that customer is doing it. So lunch snacks, office snacks, etc. You use those different words in the context, but you use it further down in the bullets and the descriptions. They really get mad at you in title, but they don't get mad at you in the bullets and descriptions.
All right. And then last one here. How again do we get the share of voice report that was mentioned?
They're right there. BWG at detailpage.com. We'll take care of you.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, everybody. Fantastic time today. Thank you for all the questions. Spencer, you guys are awesome at Detail Page. Thanks for all you do for all the brands and network. And so much fun today. Everybody look for a follow-up email from us. We'll connect you to Spencer and the team. Also, you get an email from me. Would love to connect with you. But with that, we're going to wrap this one up. See everybody again in October to cover this same topic. In the meantime, we're doing probably 50 or 60 more webinars. With that, everybody take care, stay safe. Look forward to having you at another event. All righty.
Thanks again, guys.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you.